MrBeast, Joe Rogan podcast. I had a friend reach out saying, hey, we need to set up a mastermind. We really need to set up a mastermind about improving content, giving each other feedback, getting to the next level. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. He said, I listened to the MrBeast podcast. A couple of days later, I actually listened to the podcast myself, and I understand now why he reached out. In this video, I'm going to discuss the 7 biggest lessons that I took from the MrBeast podcast, and I know that a number of other people have had a big reaction to this one, so I would love to hear what you picked up from it. The first thing for me was mentoring YouTubers for free. So he's effectively mentoring his competition for free, if there is competition. Eliminating the idea of competition from your mind to be a creator has been effective for some people. I guess for MrBeast, he wants to be the number one. He's very clear about being the number one producer. So when he's mentoring, he's testing his ideas. So he talks about taking someone from $20,000 a month to listen to his tips and techniques and getting to $400,000 a month. That is a freaking huge life-changing event. When you mentor someone for free, one of the problems can be a lack of commitment that you get from the other side. But that is also kind of an excuse, and it's an excuse that I've used, right? So if someone isn't committed to me, then how do I commit to them? How are they going to get results? Are they going to really listen? It is a legit thing. It is a legit factor. But if you're good enough, if you've gone far enough, if you're genuine enough, then you can make it work. And that was a really, really important and powerful message for me to hear. Not necessarily that I'm going to do everything that I do for free, but also not necessarily that I need to get paid. It's really put into question for me how that works, what that dynamic is, and what is the truth behind that. Because he is getting massive results mentoring people for free, and it adds to his brand, it adds to his whole story, and it can really have an impact when you hear that he's giving his time to that. And it's not completely selfless because he wants to test his ideas, like, do my ideas work? Is this actually helpful? If I speak to someone in this way, what impact does it have? And I think that is a huge positive thing for anyone to have, that feedback loop going. But that hit me and it stuck, and it's super powerful. Number 2 lesson was about obsession. He's okay with being completely obsessed with YouTube. He talks about, like, at school, he couldn't talk to anyone, he couldn't talk to friends. When Joe Rogan wants to talk about the future of technology, the future of, South Park and movies, he didn't know all this stuff because he's completely obsessed with success on YouTube and virality of YouTube videos. Now, the lesson here isn't necessarily that anyone should make viral YouTube videos. This video is not produced in such a way that it would go viral in the way that MrBeast is talking about. So that's not the point. That's not the contradiction. The point and the contradiction is, the lesson is obsession. It's okay to be obsessed with something. It's okay if all you want to do is whatever it is. For him, it's make viral YouTube videos. For Ben Patrick, it's fix people's knees. Maybe Ben, I shouldn't speak for him. Maybe he's not that obsessed with this thing. But giving yourself permission of it's okay. And Joe Rogan actually affirmed that to him of, like, it's okay, man. Like, you're doing something that's you love, and it's okay to be obsessed. I really enjoyed that part of the conversation, and you can hear Joe Rogan reassure MrBeast very quickly after he says these things that he doesn't need to feel bad about being so obsessive about the content that he creates. Number 3, all of the money going back into the videos is a powerful, powerful concept that would shake, rattle, and roll any entrepreneur's world. Are you that person? Could you do that? Would it work? Not necessarily for videos, but what if all your money went back into your business for the first 5 years? It's a powerful concept. It's a challenging concept. Maybe it's not the way forward. It's not something that everyone has to do, but it is definitely worth considering. What impact would that have? Where could I go with that? And that makes me think, okay, well, yeah, I could actually afford a bunch of the developments that I would like to make in Uncom, in ATG for coaches. Like, I can't afford those changes, and so why am I not making those changes? If that's my mission, then why am I not investing in that when that's like more important to me than anything that money can buy me? I'm not really buying stuff. I don't have a car, I don't have a house, I don't really care about those things. What I do care about is making contribution, making things work. So that concept in itself is just yeah, it's super, super powerful. Obviously, he pays his own living expenses, and he did test. He said he did test spending more of his money on himself, but he found that he didn't like it and he left it behind. So number 4 is the mastermind. That story about the masterminding is ridiculously powerful. They decided, there was a bunch of them who were completely obsessed, and they decided that they were going to set a new standard on YouTube, or at least get to 1 million subscribers, I guess is what they spoke about. And I think he said they got there within a month, and he kind of dropped that in, but that seems astonishing. I think he had like 20,000 followers, and they would get on a live call each day and openly discuss what they can do better. That also brings up for me the thing of like critical feedback. So I had a friend reach out to me who I really respect, who does great content, and he's like, let's start a group like this. And I'm like, I'm not sure if I can handle that. Like, I didn't say it to him, but I'm saying it to you. I'm not sure if I can handle that critical feedback on my content. Like, it is still a challenge for me to do this, to stream, to podcast. It's not something that comes without a level of, is this worthy? Am I worthy? Is this going to help anyone? I still have that inner dialogue as well. The fact that he wanted to engage in that critical feedback, I think, is a huge factor in his success. Maybe it's also a factor, looking at it from a metaphysical perspective, with why he had the challenges. He has had those challenges with his digestive system. So he spoke about Crohn's disease. It's an autoimmune condition. Maybe that hypercritical nature in the ability to perfect his own stuff is having somewhat of an impact on his health. Speaking as someone who has had issues with autoimmune stuff, maybe that's a factor in that. So yeah, every blessing can somewhat have a curse as well. Maybe that obsessive nature and the attention to detail is challenging him in the health-wise. But that concept of the mastermind, I am a huge believer in. Now, one of my mentors has said to me, it's actually a like mind, and like minds aren't very powerful. So if you get together with 3 of your buddies and you decide, like, let's build a car company, then if none of you have any idea how to do it, then it might not go very far. You might throw ideas around, and it just may not go where you want it to go. But if you're really committed, then you probably will eventually work it out. Like, I am a believer in the mastermind, even if you're 1 million miles away from where you want to be, and you're all 1 million miles away. If you're committed, then you will all help each other. And I love the way he spoke about that feedback loop. If you're getting more and more feedback faster and from a diverse kind of number of sources, then you're probably going to improve much faster. Number 5, philanthropy. He's giving tons, truckloads, literally, of food away. That is one of the purposes of his channel. It's very powerful from a narrative perspective, and like some of the political will and considerations, the way the collective psyche or the mass mind is headed in the United States. It's very good marketing, but you can see he generally is very interested in philanthropy as well. He's giving away lots and lots of food, and that is one of the drivers behind the success of his channel. And he's built a full channel around that. Again, like, super challenging. Okay, what are you doing for the world? If you were going to give away a bunch of money, like, what would you give it to? Personally, like, the idea of giving away lots of food, yes, everybody needs to eat, and everybody should eat. But I also have experienced welfare up close, and it can be really debilitating as well. Like, everyone needs to achieve, everyone needs to create, and a few food boxes or giving away turkeys and stuff is not going to necessarily create dependence, but maybe it's also not setting up people to live their best lives. This is a deep philosophical question of, welfare and should we all achieve, and what happens for those who aren't high achievers. I don't know. I don't have the answers for that. I'm really interested in working with high achievers and supporting them to go further. People who are really clear that they do want to work really hard on something. That's my deal. That's what I love. And so I don't know what my take is on that. If I was to have to give a lot of money to something, if I had a lot of money and I had to give it to something, what interests me most is regenerative agriculture, libraries, education centers. That's really what I would love to create, and I'm in the process of creating and plan to create. But yeah, I don't know. The philanthropy side of things, it stuck out to me. It's a really important part of that podcast. I think we're up to 6 viral content. If you're going to create crazy viral content, cool, power to you. That's not the point. For me, that's not the point of the MrBeast podcast. That's not my big message. Yes, there's an art to viral content. Cool. But what is your viral content thing? What is your solution that you bring to the world? What is it that matters to you? That's the big thing. And to what level are you comfortable with being obsessed with it? To what level do you want to make an impact? Maybe you don't want to be number one in the world. Maybe you do. It's a good discussion. It's a good podcast to bring you into that mind of what is my viral content. For me, it's about helping people to achieve their own freedom and get value out to the world. So financial abundance is something that I do really value, but there's a point. It's about getting your own time back and about being able to create what you want to create in the world. Like, that's what really inspires and drives me. I love it when people are able to put their time into what they want to put their time into, and they know that they're a long way away from being pushed into doing things that they don't want to do for financial reasons. Like that's what I love. And I love people saying, well, I think this thing is really important. I think a lot of people don't know about this. How can I get this solution to those people who are looking for that solution? There are any number of problems in the world today, and connecting the solution that you have with the people who have that problem is something that I really love. So that's my viral content thing. And this podcast is challenging me about, well, how committed am I to that? And what if I went all in on that? What would that look like? Do I need to charge for mentoring, or do I just need to be better at it and be more active and come up with the solutions to things that I haven't solved yet, and I can get more better results sooner with that. The last one then, 7, would be value. What is value, and how do you get value across into the lives of other people? How do you become more valuable? Is it valuable, the stuff that he's doing? Viral content? I don't think so. But Google thinks so, YouTube thinks so, because they can advertise on his videos and they get massive returns. Whatever. So he gets their attention. Google gets money based on how much companies will pay for the advertising, and the company is looking for a return on what they've paid Google. So everyone's, they're all making money. Cool. There's some good messages. I'm not criticizing MrBeast, like, he's doing his thing and that's what it should be. Personally, it's not the kind of content that I'm interested in watching. And yeah, it's kind of by definition kind of clickbaity, right? But he's doing his thing. He's getting his value out to the world. So what is really valuable is the fact that he knows how to make YouTube videos much better. If I wanted to grow this account to be a really successful account, because I really, really care about helping people to get to that level of abundance and freedom, and just feeling good, feeling excited about life, in the way that I've been able to go from sleeping on floors in Mexico and not feeling very comfortable about who I am or where I'm going, and being really lost, to where I've been able to get to. If I was really, really passionate about that, then maybe I would listen to him about how to make videos that are really going to stick. And so, value. How can I become more valuable? What could make my content more valuable? What is value to me? End game for me is the results of people that I work with. There are lots of really good results in the past. How could I create a lot better results in the future? I'm excited to answer that question. Like that is something that I spend my days thinking about. MrBeast and Joe Rogan have opened my mind to other ways of doing that, of looking at this, and I'm really, really grateful. I'm so grateful. It's so amazing that we live in this time where those kinds of conversations are public and published. When I was 20 years ago, that has to be in a magazine or a book. It has to be published mainstream. Like it would be a blog post or something. Like it was impossible to get access to those kinds of minds. And MrBeast himself is a product of this new economy. But yeah, the fact that we get access to this is just something to be really, really grateful for. Like we live in a golden age and an age of massive opportunity, and we should do our best to harness that. That's our challenge. We've been blessed with this time and this opportunity, and the fun is in receiving that gift and making the most of it. So I'm super grateful that I had the chance to watch that podcast, and I would love to hear from you, like what hit you from it. If you did watch it, if you haven't watched it yet, then go and watch it, and then it'll make a lot more sense. But yeah, let's go on the journey. Publish your stuff, publish your best ideas, have courage, think about what you value most, get that out to the world. Speak to you soon.